Welcome to Soul School and the teachings on Crysticism. So today, we are diving into this amazing story. It's all about a group of students who are learning to, master their soul's superpowers. To face all the trials of growing up. Let's just jump in and see what their very first lesson is all about.
Okay, so picture this classroom. It is not your ordinary schoolroom, believe me. The walls are literally shimmering with these faint moving symbols, and you can just feel the energy in the air. Now, the students, they look like any other teens, but if you look closely, you can see these faint colors kind of flickering around them. Yep, those are their auras. And they're all here to learn from this special guest speaker, Lord White, who's this being that just radiates a soft, pure light.
And here it is, the core lesson Lord White brings to the table. It really boils down to a choice. He says your soul can either be fueled by pure Holy Spirit light, which gives you this vibrant, beautiful, rainbow-colored aura, or it can run on what he calls recycled, polluted energy. And that stuff, it creates these dark, kind of muddy shades. The really wild part, according to this teaching, is that the choice is 100% up to you.
Right, so that begs the question, doesn't it? If we have this choice, why does it feel so hard to make the right one? Well, that's what brings us to our first section, pure energy, polluted minds. We're going to explore how our modern world is directly messing with our spiritual core.
So Lord White introduces this really fascinating concept he calls soul pollution. Think about it like this. Your soul's like a computer, right? Well, all that unchecked digital content, the media, the ads, the entertainment we're constantly bombarded with, is designed to sneak right past your soul's defenses. It's like a virus that worms its way into your core operating structure, embedding itself as a trusted belief. And the scariest part? It shapes who you are, and you might not even realize it's happening.
And what's really interesting is how the students react to this. Take Abby, for instance. She immediately hears recycled energy and thinks, oh, like recycling plastic bottles? That's a good thing. It just goes to show how easily we can take a good idea from the physical world and misapply it to the spiritual realm, just assuming that anything recycled has to be wonderful.
And then, of course, there's Diesel. You know this guy. He's that voice of overconfidence that I think we all have in our heads sometimes. He's basically like, nah, I'm too smart for that. I can watch all the ads and media I want, and it doesn't touch me. He's totally convinced his memory is pure, that his core programming is rock solid, and he's completely immune to all this soul pollution.
But then Evan chimes in, and he asks the question that just cuts right to the heart of the whole struggle. He says, look, if these polluted beliefs, these values and goals, are already anchored in my central identity, how in the world am I supposed to uncover them? It really is like trying to fix a computer using the same software that's already infected with a virus. It's just such a powerful, honest question.
So, yeah, how do you solve a problem that's basically woven into the fabric of who you are? Well, Lord White doesn't leave them hanging. He offers a clear, three-step framework for protection.
And the process makes a lot of sense. Step 1, protection. You got to stop the leak before you can clean up the mess, right? So you create a kind of mystic firewall to stop any new pollution from getting in. Step 2, conservation. You have to wisely invest the soul energy you already have. Treat it like it's precious. And finally, step 3, purification. This is where you seek expert help to purge all that corruption and those lies, the stuff you just can't see in yourself.
But of course, the students push back again. Abby's like, wait a minute. Why would my soul need a personal storehouse of spiritual energy? There's so much of it available. Nobody selfishly hoards their own stash. She's thinking of spiritual energy like this infinite resource, you know? It really highlights that common belief that we can just tap into some endless source without any personal effort or responsibility on our part.
And then Diesel comes in with the cynical tech. He basically says, I don't get why we have to be completely pure. Impurity is more natural, right? Purity just sounds way too much like perfection. And you can see his point, can't you? He sees impurity as a normal part of the balance of life, like yin and yang. It's a really tempting argument because, let's be honest, it kind of gives us permission to not even try.
So all this resistance to doing the actual hard work, well, it leads directly into our next section. Instead of going through the whole purification thing, the students find a shortcut, an illusion, something that gives them the appearance of being spiritual, without any of the real effort.
And who do you think comes up with it? Of course, it's Diesel. The guy's a true entrepreneur. He decides he's going to monetize this whole desire for a good aura. His plan? He's going to design and sell these rainbow light projection vests that project an artificial aura around the students. It's basically a way to create a fake spiritual identity that anyone can just put on. Okay, let's really break this down. On one hand, you've got a real aura. This is an honest reflection of your inner state, and it's built for making wise, virtuous choices. It shines with 7 pastel hues, and it's a trustworthy sign of your true character. But on the other hand, you've got the artificial aura. This thing just masks the real person. It projects whatever colors you choose, acting like a cosmic costume you can hide behind.
And you can probably guess what happens next. The consequences are disastrous. Because everyone thinks these fake auras are protecting them, they just let their real emotions run wild. Emotional outbursts start erupting everywhere. Arguments flare up into full-blown screaming matches. Cheating starts spreading through the classrooms. All this anxiety, jealousy, and anger is just stewing right beneath the surface. And the worst part? Everyone is hiding, pretending to be okay, while the whole school just spirals downward.
So Evan finally confronts Diesel, but Diesel's logic is, well, it's chillingly simple. He says, you are all failing in keeping a harmonious vibration. What is necessary is what everyone observes in each other. He genuinely believes that his colored force field, this artificial thing, is what his creator actually sees. In his mind, perception is reality. The outward appearance has completely, 100%, replaced the inner truth.
And all this chaos brings us right back to Lord White for the definitive lesson. The school is a mess, and it is absolutely time to understand the difference between real light and a fake glow. So Lord White lays out the 3 true powers of mystic spirit. First, protection. And this isn't some mask, it's a real shield from intruding enemies. Second, projection. This isn't about fake colors, it's about radiating divine thoughts and feelings to actually heal and inspire others. And third, perception. This means having mystic senses to discern between people who are helpful and those who are harmful, not just putting on rainbow glasses to ignore reality.
And this really gets to the heart of what true purification is. Lord White says, the Holy Spirit will strip images of what you think you are. It will strip concepts of false self-identity. See, it's not about adding a nice, shiny layer of light on top of yourself. It's a subtractive process. It's about purging you of all those nonsense notions, stripping away the fake stuff to reveal the true you underneath. It's tough for sure, but it's absolutely necessary. And to really drive the point home, Lord White uses this super sharp satirical analogy. He talks about a hoarder, and he says, what if the owner just identifies as a hoarder and claims the neighbors are just hoardophobic and need to be re-educated so they understand that hoarding is normal and natural? It's a pretty direct challenge, isn't it? It questions that whole idea of just accepting harmful behaviors under the guise of being inclusive, especially when it's clearly causing harm.
Okay, so this brings us to our final section, choosing your authentic light. After all the illusions have been totally exposed and the truth has been laid bare, what choice are these students going to make? Well, Diesel, ever the opportunist, is already onto his next big venture. He calls it death deterrence. Get this, it's a $5 a month insurance policy that he claims will guarantee a student won't die while they're unhappy by just promoting short-term pleasure. It's the exact same flawed philosophy, just in a new package. Another quick fix designed to help people avoid dealing with any deeper truths.
But Evan has a total breakthrough. He realizes the single wisest thing you can possibly do is to actually learn how the mystic universe works. He says you need to research, read, and ask questions to understand how the afterworld works. And that's the crucial takeaway, isn't it? Instead of trying to fake a good outcome, you have to learn the underlying rules of the game. It's a sound philosophy that produces good results, not some temporary fix.
And that really leaves us with the final question, not just for the students, but for us too. So, are you building a real light, or are you just wearing a glow? After seeing all the damage that illusion can cause, and the real power of truth, which one are you going to choose? Are you going to put in the work to build that authentic inner light? Or are you just going to settle for a comfortable artificial glow?